What is going on, my fellow fat kids? Today, I'm going to be doing another offseason hopes video, this time for the Washington Capitals. The Caps have an interesting offseason ahead of them. Backstrom's future is, well, uncertain at best, with it being more likely than not that he will retire this offseason due to his hip injury. That creates a massive hole on the team that now needs to be filled. This team has had 4 first-round losses in a row, and the core is starting to age. But you still have Alex Ovechkin, and you are definitely not going to rebuild with Ovi on your team. And the mere idea of trading Ovi is absolute blasphemy to Caps fans. So the goal for this offseason is to shake the roster up by bringing in some young to middle-aged pieces who can make an impact right away, and looking for immediate success while Ovi is still playing like Ovi can. Starting off right away with the first trade, the Caps acquire John Gibson. I just figured I'd put this in the video so there are no comments about it. Yes, I know that Gibson has said that he has not directly asked for a trade. That doesn't mean that if he was offered a trade to a contender that he wouldn't waive his no trade clause. It also doesn't mean that Anaheim has no interest in moving him. Moving on. Picking up Gibson is admittedly a risky move given his play over the past couple of seasons, combined with his term of 5 years remaining on his contract. But he has shown that he can be a fantastic goalie when given proper defensive support back when Anaheim was a good team. We admittedly pay a pretty steep price to acquire him, giving up a first-round pick and our best defensive prospect in order to get him. But we now finally have a goalie who can hopefully steal us the odd game, which is something that Samsonov nor Vanacek could do for us these past couple of seasons. We also unload Eller's cap hit to make the money work for our future deals. And from Anaheim's perspective, they get rid of a goalie who has seemed to be kind of unmotivated and disinterested the past few seasons, and receive some meaningful futures in return. In terms of the goalie going back to the Ducks, if Anaheim would prefer to have Vanacek over Samsonov, they can have him. Just let the Ducks pick which goalie they'd prefer. Now that we finally have our goalie who seems to strive under a system with good defense, let's get him some help on the back end. Here, we acquire the young Mikhail Sergachev from Tampa Bay. From our perspective, we are letting Justin Schultz walk to free agency because he has been a liability to the team for a while. And here, we're getting a major upgrade on Schultz to play the same role on the team at a very similar cap hit. It sucks that we have to give up Lapierre in the process, but we still have McMichael, and we will acquire a long-term center shortly. From Tampa's perspective, they need to shed some cap for this upcoming season, and they can afford to give up Sergachev because they have Cal Foote and now Lucas Johansson who can battle out to replace him for less than $1 million each. They also grabbed Hendrix Lapierre, who is a young, promising center who can play next season and still has 3 years left on his ELC, which is exactly the kind of player that Tampa needs to make their money situation work. So those are the only 2 trades that I have the Caps making this offseason. So now let's move on to the free agents. Firstly, we lock up Vanacek or Samsonov, whichever goalie the Ducks decided not to take. This will be our backup for the season. Then we have the sign and trade contract that Lucas Johansson will sign with the Lightning. Moving on to the UFAs, we re-sign Larson and Johansson, who are both great bottom 6 pieces that can score and have fantastic defense, especially Larson. Now the big move. We bring in Nazem Kadri. With Backstrom retiring, that opens up a top 6 center spot, and I think Kadri would be the absolute perfect fit for Washington. I really don't love giving Kadri this kind of term because it brings him until he's 36 years old, but that is probably what we're going to have to do to lock him up while competing with all the other teams trying to lock him up. $8 million is definitely not a bad cap hit for him either, considering that Backstrom made over $9 million. And they're pretty comparable players, at least skill-wise. They don't do the same role, but they have the same effectiveness. Adding Kadri to an already feisty and physical forward group only solidifies that even more. Nobody will want to play against the Washington Capitals, and that is a big advantage for us. So that's it for all the moves that I have planned, so let's just take a quick look at the new lines, and that will be the video. There is only one new face at each position, but I think that this team has significantly improved at all 3 positions on the ice. After a close series with Florida this past year, these new additions should be enough in my opinion to push them over the edge to at least get to the second round, but I would not be shocked at all to see them go further than that. Well, that is all I have for now. If you guys like this video, be sure to check out another one in this series. Work out, eat healthy. You know I'm just kidding. See you in the next one.